Welcome to the Business Reignitor series, episode 3. I get asked quite a lot from business owners for ideas on how to grow their business. In this series, I look at the different types of business that we're interested in partnering with to talk through what I do with each business to help it grow and dominate its local market. During my career, I've grown multiple businesses into multi-million pound, 7 and 8 figure revenue businesses across multiple industries. And this is the same process I use with those. During this series, I'll pick a random company off the internet and I do a deep dive into what I'd do with that company if I owned it or if I was running it myself. In this video, I'm going to be talking about a golf club business. So let's get into it. So in this video, we're looking at a company called West Lancashire Golf, based in the northwest of England. Now, I don't know this company. I don't know anyone in it. I've never come into contact with this business before. They aren't paying me to promote the business either. So I'm basing all of my growth suggestions on assumptions, all based on what I can see on their website and other places on the internet. Now, obviously, if I was actually inside this business, I'd probably choose a few additional or different strategies than what I'll talk about in this video. But these are just pieces of inspiration that come to me when I'm on the inside of the business. None of what I talk about is meant to be derogatory in any way, and it's not intention to cause any kind of damage to the business. If you're a client of this business, please don't let my suggestions determine whether you decide to work with them or not. And if it's relevant, please do your own due diligence on the business as well. Likewise, nothing in this video is an endorsement of the business either. So if you're interested in working with a company, the web address is on the screen. We can reach, or you can reach them through that, and I'm sure they'll appreciate the extra web traffic as well. One thing I've noticed from coming into contact with hundreds of businesses over the years is that most share the same issues and reasons why they just seem a bit stagnant in the growth. Now, I'm not saying this business shares those issues or that they're stagnant in the growth. I've not seen their accounts, so I don't know whether that is true or not. But what I've found, when a business is stagnant or it's struggling to grow, is because they just need what I call a bit of reignition. Most of the time, it's not even a lot that needs doing with the business. It's normally just small tweaks or changes, and then it just takes off. But with every business, we have to start with where the business is right now. I'm not talking about their physical location, although that does come into it. I'm talking about every part of the business. Without doing this step, it's like having a map and saying you want to go to let's say, Disneyland, Florida, but not knowing where you're at on that map. How can you sat nav give you directions of how to get there if it doesn't know where you're starting from? Now, there's lots to go into with understanding where the business is, which for this business, we don't have any access to a lot of that information that we'd need. So we really need to be on the inside of the business to do that. So we'll focus on what we do know about them based on what's on their website. So what do they do? Who do they do it for? And how big is the business? What assets does it have? How many staff? And does it employ a management team, or is it reliant on the owners? But everything starts with the customer. You'll see what I mean by this as we move through. So we want to imagine how can we maximize what this group of clients spends with the business. So with this business, the offerings it provides are the golf course, obviously, and then it has a bar area where it serves bar meals and coffees as well. It also has some event space where it hosts wedding receptions and other events, as well as a space for wedding receptions. It also has smaller training style rooms as well. If I was growing this business, I'd add other facilities because the golf course is quite expensive to operate on its own. So we need to bring in other revenue streams that don't need as much resource or expense to operate. And by doing that, it means most of the income that we get from those extra facilities is pure profit for the business. So the first thing I noticed is they don't have a driving range. So I'd add that because this opens it up to people that might be on their lunch break, so they don't have that time to have a full round of golf. I'd look at adding other facilities such as tennis courts as well. And this brings other people into the club that might not have gone there otherwise. Next, adding coaching or golf coaching or tennis coaching, something like that. Then I'd look at expanding the wedding offering. And rather than just being a wedding reception provider, I'd create the full package of everything people need when they get married. And finally, I'd look at building some hotel rooms on the site as well. And this would mean that they can sell rooms to the wedding guests, but also bring in other trade that wouldn't normally have visited the golf course. I wouldn't do these all at the same time. I'd bring each one in over time, probably taking 3 to 6 months on each one, launching it, testing it, optimizing it, with the end goal of operating it almost like a standalone business with its own group of staff. Obviously, that doesn't happen overnight, it takes time. But I'd start with what I'd call test bed customers. These are customers that are happy to be guinea pigs for that new offering. And maybe they get the offering at a big discount, but what you use these customers for is to refine the product offering and then iron out any delivery issues before you start to scale it to the rest of your customers. And then after you know the process is working, I then dedicate someone to sell this new offering to the company's existing customers. I'd run campaigns in the business to push that new offering out in bulk. And what this does is, by running a campaign, you know exactly how much capacity you have right now, and you want to try and sell that capacity as fast as possible. One thing I see over and over again, though, is when a business creates a new product or service offering, they create something that their existing customers won't have a need for, or they aren't already buying. And this means that they have to go and find a new set of customers to sell it to. I think it's caused because perhaps they look at what their competitors are doing. Maybe the competitor provides a service that their business doesn't. And so they automatically just create that product offering, but they don't have anyone to sell it to. So they have to start targeting new customers, which costs money, it eats up your cash flow, it reduces your profit margins, and it ends up taking much longer before you reach that same end result. It's much more profitable and faster to see those results if you focus on selling more to your existing customers. The next thing I'd do with this business is I'd use the catering resource and I'd cater to other external events and venues. I'd even bid for outside catering contracts, perhaps for the local council, and look to build that up as its own standalone catering business over time. And then rather than positioning the business as a golf club, I think about shifting it to be a private membership country club. This obviously adds prestige and it becomes more of an exclusive business or a destination venue that people want to be associated with. Third, I'd look at creating some kind of joint club membership with other locations. For example, when I play golf, I get pretty bored with playing at the same place every week. But if I've paid a membership with one club, I don't want to pay again to visit other clubs. So setting something like this up would benefit members, but it would also bring other members from other clubs. So you attract new people to the other facilities that way. I'd also look at adding partnerships to the business. I look at working with all the various wedding providers and bring them all together. They could let wedding planners and other providers use the facilities to host meetings, as well as holding wedding expos and other events like that, treating the space as if it's their own office. I'd also partner with other private membership clubs so their members can visit the club, but also the members of this club can get extra value by having access to other locations as well, such as hotel rooms or perhaps discounts on other businesses' products. And finally, I'd create partnerships with the professional coaches so they can provide golf coaching and tennis coaching at the club. Obviously, doing each of these activities or strategies will need a level of investment to bring it to life. Now, that might just be time investment, but others might need some significant financial investment. And from that investment, you'd expect to see a return on each of those activities. So we want to prioritize each of these strategies or activities according to a few criteria. How much investment is needed? What are the expected returns? How fast will we see those returns? And how much cash flow or further investment will each of those activities need in the future or to operate it within the business? And the next question is, how much should the business invest into these growth projects? And obviously, we don't know the numbers inside this business, so it really depends on the business numbers and what their growth projections are. But as a rule of thumb, I'd look to invest around 15 to 20% of the projected revenue for next year. So let's say the business has 2 million revenue now and wants to reach 2.5 million revenue next year. Then the investment budget of between 375,000 and 500,000 is about right to do that. So we've created a number of strategies to focus on growing this business. Now, the problem that I see with most businesses that they try and do these strategies is they'll go off and start trying to do it all themselves. And the problem with doing that is it becomes a distraction to your existing core business. In the various businesses that I've been involved in myself, doing this, it was me and maybe a small group of people that focused on doing this growth plan, while the rest of the business continued to be run by people that were dedicated to that part. You have to really think about these growth projects or activities like you're creating a special task force. And that special task force is the one that goes and creates that new thing or whatever that thing is. To give you an example, if you think about Apple, now Apple have shops, they have people looking after manufacturing of those products, but they also have a completely separate group of people that focus solely on designing and creating new products. That team of people don't do anything else. They don't get involved in fixing people's faulty phones. They don't build iPads. They don't work in the shop selling things. They work on designing and creating new products. Some of those products won't even be available to buy for the next 5 years. So that's how every business should think about it. Apple might be a big business now, but it was the same when they first got started. They always had one group of people that would be building the computers, but then they'd have a small group of people that was creating the next product. And this is what we do. We're like that special task force in a business. The final question is, how does this business go about doing these strategies? Now, we use a lot of different frameworks and tools that we've created over the last 30 years of doing this in our own businesses. A lot of these frameworks and tools are available through our website or through courses, books, videos that I've created. But the intention of doing these videos is to attract suitable partners to us, where if you're aligned with what we're doing and we want to go to that place as well, then we'll work with you and we'll do this process with you as a joint venture. So if that sounds interesting, the first place to go is our website. I'll leave a link in the description and you can reach us there. If you haven't seen my latest books, I'd highly recommend you read these. The Momentum Framework and my most recent book, Sustainable Community, where I go much deeper into using these different strategies. I'll leave a link in the description for those. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you've got some value from the video and I look forward to seeing the next one.